Thanks, Ahmed. Good morning, everyone. I'd planned to talk about culture and the importance of culture and Palestine culture in the context of occupation and more than 6 years now of dispossessions, etc. But I mean, you must have been aware. I mean, the last few days for the pro-Palestine activist community have been very, very dark. I could not talk about the two people that have left. So 10 days ago, Giuliano Merhamis, the director of the Jenin Freedom Theatre in Jenin refugee camp, was shot dead when he was leaving the theatre. Giuliano, for those who don't know him, was a bit of everything, really. He was an amazing personality. He was a creator. He was a filmmaker. He was an actor himself, and he tried to build bridges. He was from a Jewish mother, Palestinian father. His mum, Adna, was sort of became famous thanks to the film he made called Adna's Children a few years back. And Giuliano lost his mum. She died of cancer, fighting till the last minute for Palestinian rights. And Giuliano also lost many of his children. The children of the Jenin Freedom Theatre that died during the second Intifada. That became some of them actually were suicide bombers. So and he died himself. He was shot dead about 10 days ago. So, it's been very dark for people who knew him very well, for people who knew him a little bit, because he was part of this family. The activist world is quite a small group of people that tend, after the years, you know each other very well. And you tend to feel part of the same family. You tend to feel there's one arm is doing the lobbying, the sending letters, making films, etc. One arm is doing the preparing events, etc. Another arm is on the ground. Another arm, two arms. So a leg is on the ground. Another leg is on the front line. And Giuliano was on the front line. And so we lost. We feel like we lost a brother, actually more a father, because Giuliano was this type of charismatic figure. So it was dark enough. And when we learned on Thursday evening that Vittorio Vic had been kidnapped in Gaza. I mean, everyone who knew him, we started running like sort of headless chickens and calling pretty much every single person we knew in Gaza, every single person that we knew had connection in Gaza. I was on the phone with members of the Goldstone Report. I was pretty much everyone that could have influenced anything in Gaza. People were in touch with Hamas, etc. And again, for people who knew him very well, for people who knew him a little bit, Vittorio was this kind of really charismatic, bubbly, full of life human being. He was also a very strong, physically very strong guy, and he had gone through lots of hardships throughout his life and throughout his activism. He had been in jail, Israeli jails for many times. He had been shot by IDF soldiers. So when we heard the news, most people who I that we speak later as well included, we're still pretty optimistic. If someone can cope with this, Vic can. And these type of figures, you feel nothing can happen to them. So people are pretty optimistic. Don't worry about it. Vic's going to be fine. And so when we woke up, I mean, actually, some people stayed up all night, so we knew about it before I did. But when we woke up on Friday morning and heard that he had been, we're not sure how he died, but anyway, he had been murdered. The week and the months became even darker, and it's we have to remain positive. We have to, but when such people die, it's very hard to take, because that Vittorio had nothing to. He just gave his life to Palestine, and Vittorio was Hazza. Hazza was Vittorio. He was. Anytime you heard about Hazza, the news, Vittorio was there in the background somewhere. He had written an article, made a film, went with fishermen at sea, went with farmers on the buffer zone. So it's been very dark for the activist community, because we feel we've really lost two amazing people. On the other hand, I knew them both a little bit, and I know for a fact that I'm not sure where they are now, but if they're looking, they're probably smiling, because they were always smiling, and they were very bubbly, happy people, and they're probably thinking, yalla, continue, hey, we're dead, but in a way we die, we're all going to die one day. I guess it's not news, we're all going to die one day. And I guess dying for such a noble cause is, at least they died for something. And they probably would say, hey, look, we died, but you have to continue the struggle, you have to continue even harder. And you have to change, because they died because of something. In a way, Vittorio had nothing to do in Gaza. Giuliano had nothing to do in Jenin refugee camps. They died because of more than 40 years occupation, of more than 60 years of dispossession. And they died because of an hypocrisy and a double standard from us, in a way, from people call it the international community, which doesn't really mean anything, but from our governments, from the corporations we buy our mobiles from the corporations we build our house from. They died because on the Palestine issue there's this silence, there's this sort of passive or active support of something that is completely illegal, and no one can deny this. So I think in their honor, and if we want to honor the memory, we need to become even more active, to become even more radical. And radical is a good word. People, hear radical and they're, ooh, radical. And radical is a very good word, because we live in a radically wrong situation. So we have to be even more radical fighting this situation. And Palestine should really unite us all. Palestine is all about Palestine. It's really about the world we live in. It's really about humanity. It's really about, for anyone who's been to Palestine, and I advise you to go to Palestine, because we don't know who killed Vittorio yet, we don't know who killed Giuliano, but we know that whoever killed them wants us to be scared not to go to Palestine and to stop support. So we have to go, because it's an amazing place, and once you've been, there's such humanity in this place, such love, such laughter, such... I've traveled quite a lot, and I've never felt, in a way, as home as when I was in Palestine. A friend of mine that is working in Aida refugee camp on the outskirts of Bethlehem says, I only feel home when I enter the prison, which means I only feel home when I pass Giro checkpoints. Because there's such humanity, those people are really, really amazing. So we need to continue. TEDxRamallah is an amazing thing, because I think we have to reach the point where Palestine become more mainstream. People wear Che Guevara t-shirt. Most of them don't know who he was, because they're 15 years old. But anyway, and we need. We don't Palestine doesn't have a Che Guevara yet, but we need people in the street to wear pro-Palestine t-shirt. We need not to be scared, and we need to reframe the conflict completely. Ilan Pape, who wrote the book with, said we need to change our dictionary, because everyone's scared. Everyone still uses the word conflict, still uses the word settlement, peace talks, etc. And it's not what's happening. It's not what's happening on the ground. There's a conflict implies that there's two equal sort of parties. A conflict, you think about a sort of boxing match with two heavyweights or something. It's not the same. There is a heavyweight fighting. No, it doesn't even compare. Israel is one of the most powerful states in the world, also because it's supported by the most powerful state in the world. And Palestine is a nothing. There's nothing to compare both states, both entities. So we have to change the dictionary. We have to use words that might shock, but they shouldn't. We have to use ethnic cleansing, colonialism, apartheid, and we have to, this has to become mainstream. Academics have to start using this, activists, journalists, and then things will move forward. So, and next time there's a TEDxRamallah, everyone on the list will be able to be in Ramallah. We'll all be in Ramallah. Adam Shapiro, who he does, baby, Huwaida's husband, cannot go to Ramallah because he's been banned from the West Bank by Israel. Lots of people couldn't go because they were from Beirut, from Jordan, from Amman. Next time there's such an event, everyone will need to be there because Israel has nothing to say. How come Israel can tell to Adam Shapiro, US citizen, you cannot go to the West Bank? They've got nothing to do with it. So next time we need all of us will be in Ramallah, and we will celebrate the amazing potential of these people of Palestine. I'm not sure how long I've spoken for.
No, it's perfect.
It's fine. Okay. So yeah, it's been a very dark and very the context and the way Giuliano and Vittorio have been murdered has been just deeply shocking, because there was, I knew Vittorio a bit more than Giuliano. There was no one more humane than him. You know what I mean? If you see videos on YouTube, etc., he was just this sort of man of this bubbly, happy guy smoking his pipe. And as ever, a friend who knew better than I said yesterday at a vigil we organized for Vittorio, Vittorio didn't try to change. He was Vittorio. He went to Palestine, to Gaza, one of the most conservative society in Palestine. He was wearing short-sleeved t-shirt. He had tattoos all over his body. He was loud. He was talking to girls and guys. He was sort of building gaps. No, you can't build gaps. Building bridges. He was bringing his culture, taking part of the culture of other people. He was bringing people together, and people in Gaza loved him. And the reaction after his murder was not overwhelming, and everyone condemned the murder. And so yeah, we have to be united, because Palestine showed us the worst of the world, but also shows us the most beautiful part of in all of us. And Vittorio was part of us. And I think that's the point. Vittorio showed us also what's possible, And I think that's why his death touched so many people, because he's not feeling guilty or anything, but you feel he's doing stuff that I could do, or I should do, or that, it's part of you. It's part of you that has disappeared, and that we have to find again, and we will find it. So yeah, anyway, I think we're going to start the program now. I know Huwaida is speaking last, so in about an hour and 10 minutes or something. Huwaida Araf, who is founder of the Free Gaza movement and founder of the ISM, she'll be speaking about Vittorio, who she knew very, very well, so there'll be a short video as well about Vittorio. Last few things. A new flotilla is about to go, so the date is the 31st of May. Inshallah, it'll happen on the 31st of May. We are going to need everyone to be supportive of the flotilla, because we know what happened last year. We know that the media bias that we experienced last year, because Israel simply shut down any possible media communication, and then for 3 days. The media was the first few hours, the first few days are the most important. And Israel grabbed this and used the first 2 days last year to make people, to tell people they were extremists on the boats. So even if it was proven afterwards that actually there was not really much fighting back, etc., people still today thinking they were like 600 Turkish radicals calling for a Sharia law state that wanted to kill Israeli soldiers. This is not. So we have to make sure on the 31st of May, on the 1st of June, to be ready for this. And we have to talk. If you can't reach media, you have to talk to your friends, to your family, to your. You have to make them understand that Palestine is really a symbolic issue nowadays, and it's the longest occupation in history, or at least recent history, and it's just wrong. So thanks everyone. I wish there was more people. I think a lot of people are going to turn up this afternoon and enjoy the talks, and yeah, thanks.